What's up, everybody? It's the Ginger Yeti, and I'm checking in from home. As you can see, what I have in front of me is Sam Adams Utopias. This is the 2025 release. Now, I've never reviewed Sam Adams Utopias on my channel, but we did review the 2021 way back on Beer Day with TK's channel, where I got my start. We reviewed that probably in 2021-ish. If I remember, I'll link that down below in the comments if he still has that video up. But this bottle right here, well, the 2021 I picked up in DuPont Circle, Washington, D.C. Happened to see it, bought it. This one right here, a buddy of mine happened to see it, picked it up for me, said, hey, I got this, figured you would either want it or you would know somebody that wanted it. I'm like, sure, I'll take it, whatever. I did pay for it. It was about $300 for this bottle, which is crazy. Comes in this box here, says biannual release 2025, Sam Adams Utopias, aged in barrels, 30% ABV, illegal in 15 states, award-winning extreme beer. Now, if you watch my channel, I have reviewed some high ABV beers before. The Snake Venom and the Bay Hare's Fire. Those are supposedly the world's strongest beers. However, those beers are fortified, kind of like, it's a controversy about them because they're ice distilled, and then depending on if the ABV hits the right mark or not, they add grain neutral spirits to it. So it's not necessarily a beer. This, however, is a straight up beer. And it's crazy because it's a 30% alcohol beer. But before we get into it, I'm going to read a little bit about it and talk about it. So on Untappd, there's a blurb, which is the same blurb that's on their website. It says, we make Utopias to challenge the perception of what beer can be. This boundary-bending barrel-aged beer blurs the line between beer and fine spirit. At 30%, it's the badass of our brewery. Its reputation puts it on every beer drinker's bucket list. That is true. While Utopias has long matured in charred whiskey barrels, some with history stretching back nearly 3 decades, our 2025 blend ventures even further. Joining our traditional ruby port, Carcavelos, Cognac, and Scotch Casks are Irish whiskey, Amarone, and white port barrels, each adding its own distinct character. Irish whiskey brings notes of toasted oak and warm vanilla, Amarone contributes rich, wine-soaked fruit depth, and white port imparts a delicate, honeyed sweetness. So, I'm not a wine drinker. I'm not familiar with some of these things. I had to look them up. Amarone is like a rich, dry red wine from Italy. I'm not a big red wine fan at all, but it's a rich, dry red wine from Italy. Carcavelos is, I guess, a Portuguese wine or a Portuguese fortified wine. Not familiar with either of those because I don't drink wine. Now, according to their website, Sam Adams Utopias is brewed with, the malt bill is 2-row pale malt blend, Munich, and Caramel 60. The hops are Hallertau, Mittelfrüh, Spalter, and Tettinger. Hard words to say, right? So the yeast, and this is where they get the ABV from. They use several strains of brewer's yeast. They use a proprietary ninja yeast, and ninja yeast is in quotation marks, whatever that means. And then they use a specialty yeast that's generally reserved for champagne. And nowhere have I ever read, do they ice distill it or fortify it or anything like that. So I imagine just between the barrel aging, because over time in the barrel you do lose some water, which kind of distills it down naturally. You do lose some of the water, and then some of these yeasts can produce higher ABV or are tolerant to higher alcohol levels, especially when you're using things like champagne yeast, so you can get a higher ABV. And every time that they bottle it, they're not aiming for some specific ABV, to my knowledge. They're just bottling it, and then they test it to see what the ABV is. So it's not like some of these other beers that are trying to claim that they're the world's highest ABV and stick to an ABV. If you look at the yearly releases of these, they always run the gamut of what the ABV is. Like the 2021 variety or variant was 28% alcohol. This happens to be 30%. There's a little tag here What's it say here? Our journey into extreme beer started in 1994 when we brewed Sam Adams Triple Bock in our Boston brewery. Sam Adams Utopias 2025 is a blend of multiple batches of our extreme beers aged for many years. We've always aged Utopias in charred whiskey barrels. I said some of that already. What else is on here? From our earliest extreme brews, we set cracking that 30% ABV barrier as a lofty goal, and this year we did it, perhaps the strongest beer on earth. Irish whiskey barrels are used to enhance our increased use of Scotch casks, giving sharper caramel, woody, and slightly smoky notes. Robust, bold, and typically featuring a higher ABV, Amarone wine is an excellent complement to our increased alcohol content, evoking high tannins and slightly bitter grape flavor. Rounding out the new barrel inclusions is white port, where toffee, caramel, and slight citrus notes will boast the traditional flavor notes of Utopias. To celebrate our credo, together we are heavy, we made sure that Utopias 2025 was touched by each of our breweries through its brewing, aging, and bottling. Utopias is a labor of love for all of us at Boston Beer. We hope you will savor every sip of this unique beer. Cheers. That's really cool that they make sure that, however they do that, they make sure that this has gone through, the product has somehow been at every one of their breweries. So that's really cool. And the bottle, of course, is this cool gold looking bottle. It says Sam Adams on that side. And then on this side, get this tag around. It's got the brewer window. You can open the brewer window up, and that's the image this year. On the bottom, it says the Boston Beer Company, limited 2025 edition. This is number 11309, Sam Adams Utopias. And it's just a really exciting beer to have. I mean, this was a bucket list beer for me for a very long time once I first started getting into craft beer. And now somehow I have two of them, 2021 and 2025, which is crazy. I've probably talked enough, so let's start getting into it. On Untapped, this gets a 4.53 with 1.1 thousand check-ins. On Beer Advocate, they did not have the 2025 listed. And you're not supposed to pour out a whole lot. I probably already poured too much. But they did not have the 2025 listed. However, for the undated version, because that's what Beer Advocate, the only thing Beer Advocate had, this gets a 99 world class with 2,855 check-ins. And it got an aggregate score of 4.47. Now, I have already tasted this, because if you haven't gone and watched, and you're still with me here on this video and haven't tuned out, I did a blind taste test between the 2025 and the 2021, which was really fun to do. So I opened a bottle for that. So I did taste it once. But now I'm actually going to go in and taste it to do the review. Let's get a nose on it here. It's boozy. There's raisin. There's another scent there that I'm having trouble placing. Maybe it's a port wine scent. But it's definitely boozy. You know this is a high ABV beer. Maybe this is the world's highest ABV beer that's not fortified. And you get some raisin notes. And there's another scent there that I just cannot place. And color, that's a brownish, can't see through it at all. It looks oily. There's like some stratification in there between different colors. Looks very oily, very viscous, leaving lots of legs around the glass. As you swirl around, there's tons and tons of legs around the glass. I mean, that's just, I don't know. That looks like unfiltered brandy to me, like homemade unfiltered brandy. Yeah, raisins, alcohol, and something else on the nose. Let's take a drink of this. So, I'm going to have a lot of this to drink tonight because I still have about this much left between the two. The 2021 and the 2025 of my blind taste review. Now I got this glass of it. It's going to be a rough night. Cheers, everybody. Surprisingly, there's not much of a burn. Although the burn does start to creep up. A little bit of warming now going down the throat. A little bit of warming in the mouth, but it wasn't present in the beginning. It wasn't like when you do a shot of liquor or whiskey and you immediately get that alcohol burn. This kind of just creeps up just in the background, just kind of like a, hey, hello, this is high alcohol. Not like, oh, you're drinking Everclear or gasoline, like those Snake Venom, Be Hair's Fire, some of that garbage was like. This is very rich, complex. For all the wine barrels that they use, I don't pick up a lot of wine flavors. I do get a little bit of a like fruitiness. There is some honey sweetness kind of deal going on. You do get some of that like earthy, peaty kind of notes in there. It's just very complex, very delicious. It's viscous. It's subtle. It's complex. It's sweet fruits. There's just so many flavors going on in there. Each sip, you pick up different notes of things. I think, if I remember correctly, back in 2021, when the Beer Day with TK and I reviewed the 2021 Utopias, we were talking about how it was like more like a port wine. I've never had port wine. I still haven't had port wine. But I don't know if that comparison would be accurate with this year's version. I mean, I could be wrong because I've never had port wine, but I'm not a big fan of wine. I wouldn't consider this anywhere near the realm of wine. It might have some wine kind of notes or hints, but this is definitely beer. There's no carbonation per se. But if you handed this to me blindly, I would still think this was some sort of beer. And even at 30% ABV, it's not hot. It doesn't drink like that. This one is dangerous. I'm sucking this down pretty quick because it's just not that high of an ABV in the mouth, in the burn, anything like that. This is phenomenal. Definitely deserves the 99 world class. I've been real long-winded on this one. But I give Sam Adams at 2025 two big horns up. If you can find it and can afford it, go pick this up. If you see it somewhere and you got like 4 or 5 buddies who want to try it, throw in on a bottle of it. It's totally worth it. It's a cool bottle to have. It's a really tasty sipper. It's one of those things you break out on a special occasion. Or if you're an idiot like me, you do a blind taste test between 2 different years of it. Because why not, right? If you made it this far in the video, let me know down below if you've had this Sam Adams Utopias. If you have, what year did you have it? Have you had multiple years? Let me know that down below in the comments as well. I really appreciate you all watching. Thank you all very much. And as always, embrace the adventure.